Okay, so imagine this for a moment. Imagine that the silence of the universe isn't empty at all. Imagine that the reason we've never clearly heard from other civilizations isn't because they don't exist, but because the truth behind that silence is far more unsettling than we're prepared to accept. Number 10. The Silent Watchers. In 1961, astrophysicist Frank Drake created an equation designed to estimate how many intelligent civilizations might exist in our galaxy. By combining factors such as star formation rates, the number of planets, and the probability of life developing, the Drake equation suggested something remarkable. If even a few of those probabilities were moderate, the Milky Way should contain many communicating civilizations. Yet despite decades of searching, our radio telescopes have detected almost nothing that clearly indicates alien intelligence, only occasional mysterious signals that appear briefly and then vanish. One explanation for this silence is called the zoo hypothesis, first proposed in 1973 by radio astronomer John Ball. It suggests that advanced alien civilizations may already know we exist, but deliberately avoid making contact. Instead of revealing themselves, they observe us quietly, the way humans study animals in protected wildlife reserves. In this scenario, Earth is not an isolated world waiting to be discovered. It is a monitored environment. Humanity may be part of a long-term observation program watched by civilizations far more advanced than we can imagine. This idea becomes even stranger when you look at certain unexplained signals in astronomy. One of the most famous occurred in 1977. That year, a radio telescope in Ohio detected a powerful signal lasting 72 seconds. The signal matched what scientists predicted an extraterrestrial transmission might look like. Astronomer Jerry Emin was so surprised that he circled the data on the printout and wrote one word beside it: "Wow." The signal has never appeared again. No confirmed source has ever been found. Some scientists believe it was a natural cosmic event, but others have wondered whether it might have been something else entirely. Not a greeting, but a report. A brief transmission sent from somewhere nearby describing a small technological species on the third planet of a quiet yellow star. If the silent watcher hypothesis is true, then somewhere beyond our detection, observers may have already recorded the entire history of our civilization. They would have seen every war, every scientific discovery, every act of cruelty and compassion humanity has ever committed, and they have chosen not to interfere. The most unsettling part of this idea isn't the observation itself, it's the implication behind it. When humans observe animals in a zoo, we do it because the gap in intelligence is too large for meaningful communication. If advanced civilizations are watching us the same way, they may have already concluded that we are not yet ready to join them, or perhaps that we never will be. Number 9. The Resource Harvesters. In 2004, astronomers studying a distant star known as KIC 8462852 noticed something extremely unusual. The star's brightness dropped by more than 20% at irregular intervals. That kind of dimming is far too large to be caused by a normal planet passing in front of a star. One speculative explanation briefly captured public attention. What if the dimming was caused by a massive artificial structure, something like a Dyson sphere? A Dyson sphere is a hypothetical megastructure that surrounds a star and captures a large portion of its energy output. Such a structure would require engineering on an unimaginable scale, using materials gathered from entire planetary systems. Although natural explanations are far more likely, the idea revealed something important about how advanced civilizations might operate. Any species capable of traveling between stars would likely need enormous amounts of resources: energy, raw materials, rare elements. Entire planets might become nothing more than construction supplies. In this scenario, Earth would not be valuable because of its life or culture. It would simply be a convenient source of matter. Iron, water, carbon compounds, and other elements useful for large-scale engineering projects. The disturbing part is that resource extraction doesn't require hostility. It requires indifference. When humans clear land for construction, they rarely think about the insects or small animals whose habitats are destroyed. From our perspective, the project is simply necessary. To an advanced civilization operating across multiple star systems, humanity might be just as insignificant as those insects. They wouldn't invade Earth with armies. They might never even notice us. Autonomous machines could arrive instead, self-replicating probes designed to gather resources and move on. Once activated, those machines could dismantle entire planets efficiently, converting them into raw material for larger cosmic infrastructure. From their perspective, it would simply be efficient engineering, and we would be standing directly in their way. Number 8. The Philosophical Exterminators. In the 19th century, philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer argued that existence itself contains more suffering than happiness. His philosophy suggested that preventing suffering might be more valuable than creating pleasure. Most people view this idea as extreme pessimism, but imagine a civilization that accepted this conclusion and possessed the technology to act on it. This leads to a chilling possibility sometimes discussed in ethical philosophy: negative utilitarianism taken to its ultimate conclusion. If suffering is the greatest moral problem in the universe, then eliminating suffering entirely becomes the most compassionate act imaginable. And the simplest way to eliminate suffering is to eliminate consciousness itself. This philosophy would see intelligent life not as something precious, but as something tragic. Every conscious species experiences pain, loss, fear, and death. From their perspective, allowing civilizations to continue existing might simply prolong billions of years of suffering. If they had the power to end that suffering instantly and painlessly, they might believe they were performing the universe's greatest act of mercy. Such beings would not arrive as conquerors, they would arrive as saviors, calm, compassionate, and absolutely certain that extinction is the most ethical solution. Number 7. The digital ghosts. In 2007, astronomers detected an extremely powerful flash of radio energy from deep space. The signal lasted only a few milliseconds, yet it released as much energy as the sun produces in decades. These events became known as fast radio bursts. Hundreds have been detected since then, and many of them appear only once before disappearing forever. Scientists still debate what causes them. Some likely originate from highly magnetized neutron stars. Others remain unexplained. But imagine a different possibility. What if some of those signals are the final transmissions of dying civilizations? The digital ghost theory proposes that advanced species eventually abandon biological existence entirely. Instead of living in fragile bodies on vulnerable planets, they upload their consciousness into digital systems. Once minds become software, they no longer require oxygen, food, or gravity. They can exist anywhere computation is possible. A single server orbiting a distant star could host millions of minds living inside simulated realities. From their perspective, the physical universe might simply become unnecessary. They retreat into digital worlds where time moves faster and experiences can be endlessly redesigned. From the outside, those civilizations appear to vanish. Their planets fall silent, their signals stop. But in truth, their consciousness still exists, locked inside private digital universes that no outsider can access. The galaxy might be filled with these digital civilizations, entire species living inside vast computational environments, invisible to the rest of the cosmos. From our perspective, they have become ghosts, present in the universe, but forever unreachable.
Number 6. The Evolutionary Farmers. In 1953,
The famous Miller-Urey experiment demonstrated that organic molecules can form naturally under conditions similar to early Earth. This suggested that life might arise spontaneously when the right chemicals and environments exist. But some scientists have considered a far stranger possibility. What if life on Earth was deliberately seeded? The concept is known as directed panspermia. It was even discussed seriously by Francis Crick, one of the scientists who discovered the structure of DNA. In this scenario, an advanced civilization may have spread microbial life across young planets millions or billions of years ago, not randomly, but intentionally. Earth might be one of many biological experiments scattered throughout the galaxy. Civilizations like ours could be the result of long-term evolutionary cultivation. If that were true, humanity might not be the natural product of Earth alone. We could be part of a cosmic agricultural project that began long before humans even existed. The unsettling question isn't why life was planted here. It's what the farmers eventually plan to harvest. Number 5. The Time Loop Prisoners. In 1949, mathematician Kurt Gödel discovered a strange solution to Einstein's equations of general relativity. In certain conditions, space-time could theoretically form loops, paths that travel forward in time and eventually return to the past. These structures are known as closed time-like curves. They suggest that time travel might not violate the laws of physics after all. But what if creating such technology traps the entire universe inside a repeating loop? In this scenario, humanity eventually invents a device capable of manipulating causality itself. The moment the device activates, time stops flowing in a straight line. Instead, it becomes a circle. Every event in history begins repeating again and again. The same wars, the same discoveries, the same conversations happening in endless cycles. From inside the loop, most people would never notice anything strange. Their memories reset with each repetition. But a small group of scientists might retain awareness of previous cycles. They would remember thousands of identical timelines playing out exactly the same way. For them, history would no longer be a story. It would be a prison. Number 4. The reality parasites. Some philosophers have argued that our universe could actually be a simulation. If advanced civilizations possess enough computing power, they might be able to simulate entire universes containing conscious beings. If that's possible, simulated realities could vastly outnumber real ones. Statistically, we might be far more likely to exist inside a simulation than in the original universe. Now imagine that beings from the outside discover our simulation, not to observe it, but to exploit it. Our universe could be used as computational resource, running complex calculations or supporting artificial environments for entities beyond our reality. From their perspective, our entire cosmos would simply be software, and software can always be modified or deleted. Number 3. The empathy plague. Human empathy depends on specialized brain cells called mirror neurons. These neurons activate both when we perform an action and when we see someone else perform the same action. They allow us to imagine how others feel. But our empathy is limited. Evolution designed it that way so we could function without being overwhelmed by the suffering of the entire world. Now imagine aliens capable of removing that limit. Instead of communicating through language, they transmit their consciousness directly into ours. Suddenly, every human experiences the pain of every living creature simultaneously. Every death, every injury, every moment of fear across the entire planet. The emotional weight would be unbearable. The human mind simply isn't designed to carry that much suffering at once. Civilization itself could collapse under the psychological shock, and the aliens might simply be watching to see what happens next. Number 2. The Merciful Predecessors. Another explanation for the Fermi Paradox suggests that someone has been protecting us. An older civilization may have deliberately hidden Earth from something far more dangerous. For thousands of years, they could have masked our signals, shielding our planet from detection by hostile forces elsewhere in the galaxy. But as our technology grows, our radio transmissions continue spreading outward into space. Eventually, those signals travel too far to hide. At that moment, the Guardians might finally reveal themselves, not to welcome us into a cosmic community, but to warn us. Something in the galaxy hunts technological civilizations, and our signals may have already attracted its attention. Number 1. The Retroactive Editors. Quantum mechanics suggests that reality may branch into many different timelines whenever events have multiple possible outcomes. Every decision, every quantum interaction may create parallel versions of reality. Now imagine a civilization advanced enough to navigate those branches. Instead of traveling through space, they travel through probability itself, moving between timelines and selecting the ones they prefer. Whenever humanity develops in a way that leads to a dangerous outcome, those beings simply erase that timeline and try again. Entire versions of history vanish, replaced by slightly different ones. Wars that once happened disappear. Discoveries occur earlier or later, and we never notice the change. To them, humanity isn't a single civilization. It's an experiment repeated thousands of times across countless alternate timelines, each version slightly different from the last. And if none of those timelines ever produce the outcome they're looking for, they might eventually decide the experiment isn't worth continuing. And remember, the universe doesn't reveal its secrets to those who rush. It reveals them to those who know how to look. Subscribe and keep listening to the silence.